Good afternoon to all the participants and also to Mr. Manoj Kumar especially. This Innovation Impact lecture series is a AICTE sponsored event, and it's a series of lectures, and this month we are going to have 2 lectures, and this is the first one amongst that. So we are here for a good beginning, and as you understand, the central government is in the process of introducing the new education policy. So in that new education policy, which they have been discussing and debating till now, and they are reaching the final stages of implementing it, the focus is going to be more on job creation rather than job acquiring. In the sense, you can't be a person who is looking for a job in the market, but you should be a person who should be able to provide jobs to many others in the market. So they have put a lot of emphasis on innovation, entrepreneurship, ventures, new ventures being created, all these things. So the entire focus of education, especially management education, is going to move towards that. So all these different initiatives from the AICTE side, along with the Ministry of Education's anchorship, they are conducting a whole lot of activities, and this Impact Lecture Series is one among them. In fact, the first one among them. We ourselves have set up an Institutional Innovation Council. We have been undertaking many activities as a part of it, and you yourself may have gone through a couple of them by now. All these we have started this last academic year onwards, towards the middle of last academic year, and now this academic year also we are continuing with that. So this is an activity, this is a very important activity planned and being planned and implemented by the Innovation Council of the Institute. And this is mainly for channelizing and organizing round-the-year activities in the areas of innovation, entrepreneurship, intellectual property rights, etc., to sensitize and motivate students and also faculty members to pursue innovation and startup during their academic tenure itself. Now, if you have seen, many of you who have come to the campus today after a long break, probably you would have noticed that we have something called a incubation center, which is located on the 4th floor of this building. And that incubation center is going to be actively utilized for all these activities. Or for that purpose, to make use of that center very effectively, all these are supportive activities. First of all, you should be motivated to take up entrepreneurship activities. We should be motivated to think in terms of motivation. Then only those facilities will start getting utilized to the best extent. So these are all activities which is going to contribute towards that. So the conduct of Impact Lecture Series in RBS is one of the approach which we have planned actively for this. And this, as I mentioned earlier, this is done with the help of Ministry of Ministry of Education and AICTE. So the Impact Lecture sessions in selected IIC institutions, not all institutions can offer this. It can be only offered by selected IIC institutions. It will not only provide impetus for a campus innovation and startup ecosystem, but also help establishing a strong connection with the ecosystem enablers. So Mr. Pramod Kumar is one such person who is an enabler for this, startup ecosystems. So we are extremely happy to have him today. Now, I am not taking much of his time and your time, and I'm sure you are eagerly waiting to hear from him. So I leave the floor across to him. Please make it as my request from my side is, please make it as interactive as possible and ask as many questions as possible, because it is very rarely we can get people of such profile. So my request is, please make the best use of it. And also, I wish a very interactive and fruitful session to Mr. Manoj Kumar also. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Manoj Kumar.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for giving us an overview of what we are going to discuss today. Today, we begin our session on emergent strategy in the frozen food industry to overcome the pandemic triggered environmental changes, which will be led by our distinguished guest, Mr. Manoj Kumar, an experienced business leader with a demonstrated history of working in the food and beverages, services, and manufacturing industry. He is also an HR expert with a strong understanding of business environment, having rich experience in strategic HR, skilled in negotiation, HR consulting, compensation, strategy in line with talent attraction and retention, cultural building based on core values and high performance. I'm honored to welcome you, sir, to share your knowledge on this topic.
Thank you. Thank you. So let me start sharing the presentation what I am having. Good evening to you all. In the next 1 hour, I'm going to share our company Sumeru's experience, how we dealt with this pandemic COVID situation. So I have structured my presentation in two compartments. One is to give you an overall idea about our company, its products, and the evolution of the frozen food industry, because we are one of the oldest for the frozen food industry in India. Along with that, how we dealt with the pandemic challenges across the country, because we run our operations across as a pan-India company. So how we dealt with the situation, that I'll be taking you through the second part. Is the structure is okay?
Sure, sir. It should be fine. Good enough.
Okay, great.
You can go ahead.
Yeah. Let me start with one second. Okay, let me start with the Innovative Foods Limited vision statement. So our vision is to be a leader in the frozen food industry, which is known for the continuous innovation and quality available at arm's length in any shop near to you, and thereby being the #1 brand to choice of our consumers. We started the company in the year 1984. As I told you in the beginning, we are one of the oldest frozen food industry in India. This company was set up in 1984 by Mr. Abraham Taragan and Mr. Ramesh Taragan, and it was known as Amalgam Foods. In 1809, Amalgam Foods acquired this Innovative Foods Limited. So from there, the actual journey begins. In 1992, this company went public through an IPO, and it was listed in all the major stock exchanges. In the year 2007, the Tata Group acquired this company. And again, what they did is they did delisted from all the stock exchanges. And though it was a limited company, it was no more a trading company in the stock exchanges. Again, in 2009, majority of Tata Group shares has been acquired by private equity partner, India Equity Partners. And from there, the private equity fund generated, the culture begins. That means, you know how the private equity works. They invest money, and after some time, they want to exit and they want to turn around the company with higher margins, higher profitability. So with India Equity Partners, the growth was very fast. They invested a huge amount in the company and did a lot of innovation in rebranding, and the product we divided into 3 subcategories as WhatsUp, Classics, and 5 Senses. So Sumeru being the mother brand, we have 3 sub-brands. All those things happened during IEP time. So again, after 4 years of their investment, they divested their shares, and another private equity again invested, that's called People Capital, which they are still continuing as the major investors in this company. During this time, that means from 2017 to 2021, we did a lot of exercise in building a new organization with during IEP time, this 500 strength company. Now we have more than 800 employees. We have, earlier we had only 2 factories. Now we have 2 our own factories. Apart from that, we have 2 factories which they are producing for exclusively for us. During this period, we started a new factory, a state-of-art facility at Chittoor, which is in Andhra Pradesh, wherein all our vegetarian products are being manufactured there. And the Cochin plant, which is in Erupunna, and not exactly in Cochin, is in Alipi district, which produces all the non-vegetarian and all the breaded products. So this is the overall scenario of the company and its evolution. Let me just give you a brief on the company's overview. As I told you, we are one of the leading players in India for the frozen food category. We have 3 sub-brands. And what we do is we serving the ready-to-cook products, both veg and non-vegetarian, includes chicken, seafood, and non-traditional items. We have we are present across India from Jammu Kashmir to Kanyakumari. More than 8,000 stores are covered with 300 more towns. And approximately we have more than 200 sales people in the field. So our revenue segment again into 3. Major is the retail business. Retail business means when you go to the shop, you are buying it from the retail stores. And then food service. In India, almost all the, we say quick service restaurants, QSRs, are with us. We are one of their major suppliers. That includes McDonald's, KFC, Cafe Coffee Day, Subway, Domino's. To all these restaurant chains, we are the suppliers. The other market is export. We do export to USA, Singapore, Mauritius, Japan, Middle East, etc. So if you see the revenue contribution, the 64%, the major share is from the retail business in India. Then 22% is through food service, and the remaining 14% is through export. So this is the overall picture. Because why I am explaining this is to understand the scenario where we exist, where we stand, what is our business, and only I will be able to understand the pandemic challenges and how we dealt with these challenges. No compromise on quality, because it is imperative that any food industry has to have proper certification, all their products tested and proved, including the processes, so that it is complete in Indian laws as far as the global market access. So there is no compromise on the quality. If you see from 2012 to 2017, our focus was to get certified in all available leading quality compliance certifications. Because if you are a supplier to the McDonald's or a Subway or any MNC company, it is important that unless and until you complete all the certifications, they will not be a partner with you. So if you see almost like everything, all the certifications what we have is the reflection of the quality of products what we produce in our factories. Again, we divide this, the trade channels into 4 buckets. One is the retail called the modern trade, like the Reliance, the Big Bazaar, all such big formats. Then standalone modern trade, that huge store, but it is a single store. Like they don't have any much branches or something. That's what we call standalone modern trade. These are all FMCG, nomenclature, which I thought I will explain to you so that you will also understand. And the general trade, like general merchants, what we say. And the HoReCa, the hotel, restaurants, and caterers, we do supply. And the food service, I told you, the major quick service restaurants, then corporate houses, then flight caterers. Then export the various countries. So these are the 4 segments in detail. This is the Sumeru brand proposition, what we do and why the reason for our existence, for the customer, they want the good quality products, hygiene, quality, healthy food for every meal. But as you know, it is very difficult doing this while juggling their various preferences, especially both the people are working, everybody is working, and they don't have much time to cook for themselves. So what we offer is we deliver a range of tasty, frozen, quality food product options, meet every customer's requirement. We use the specialized technology that keeps natural goods intact. That means the frozen means when you freeze in -40, all the nutrients gets locked. We don't have to keep the preservatives or anything to keep this for long. So it is a natural way of keeping the nutrients intact in a very hygienic manner. So what we offer is the goodness of frozen food, quality food to the customer. That is why the reason for our existence. As I told you, we are everywhere in India. Now, though Jammu Kashmir is not quarter this, there also we started giving it from last year onwards. As I already given the brief that we are there in more than 300 plus towns with 200 distributors. We have warehouses, 8 locations in India, and our own 2 factories at Cochin and Chittoor. These are our major customers on modern trade. Literally, we are there in everywhere, including Star Bazaar, Big Bazaar, Lulu, More, Walmart, wherever you say. These are the customers for quick service restaurants. The hotels who partner, we are the suppliers to them as well. These are our products, multi-branded structure. Like as I told you, the WhatsApp we have spring rolls, nuggets, fingers, French fries, samosas, then chicken snacks, fingers, nuggets, pops, sausages, then parathas, veggies, fresh vegetables like green peas, sweet corn, mixed vegetables. Then we have another subbrand 5 senses, which is for fish and meat products, premium fish fillet, prawns, etc. These are the packaging what we sell in the market. You may come across these packagings in the retail stores. Apart from that, we do have meal solutions, as I told you, for working people. Nowadays, nobody is having any time to cook at home. So we have options for them. You get the food, get the Sumeru meal option and do microwave it, and your lunch, dinner, everything will be ready within no time. We have kebab range, we have desserts, we have momos, dim sums, rolls, etc. We are also associated with Chef Alper Prasad, who is one of the youngest Michelin star chef of India at the age of 29. He develops a lot of ready meal solutions for us. He himself is an entrepreneur. He operates the Tamarind restaurants in the UK, and he is one of our major chefs involved in the R&D operations. Now, coming back to the COVID scenario, now you understood we are in the food, we are in the market, we are across country. We have 2 factories, one in Kerala, one in Andhra. Then we have outsourced operations one in Delhi, one in Bombay, and the state sales offices across India. So the COVID, the impact is huge for us. Okay, so here I am going to explain how we face this situation, how we face this challenge created by this pandemic. So first of all, when this COVID outbreak happened, so the leadership team, the Apex committee, had a meeting and decided we should have a business continuity plan, because we don't know how this is going to last, how long it is going to last, what will be the impact, whether we'll be able to give the same product, whether we'll be able to offer the same quality, whether we'll be offer the same customers. It's all in limbo. So we thought we should have a business continuity plan in place, which was we started the discussion from March last week onwards in 2019, at the start of the pandemic itself. So these are the broad things we thought, why should we have a leadership meeting and why should we have a business continuity plan? So we thought we will really go through the impact created by this COVID-19, and the way ahead, we should have a clear plan, and let's document it, templatize the working, and each department, each function should be clear what they should be doing it and how we are going to face this challenge, in a unified manner. And the action points also will be very clear, so that everybody in the organization knows how we are going to deal with the situation. And the leadership meeting, it was a daily affair. We used to start at least by 7 o'clock in the morning and used to end by 9 o'clock, detailing each and every activity of the departments, activity of the individuals, and in detail. The context of this business continuity plan is like, we came to know, or we are thinking that this could be worse than the 2008 economic crisis which had globally. So we were assuming that we should be ready to deal with such a situation. So the variability, the increasing variability impact. So we don't know what is going to be the change factor, how it is going to differently. The data is set changes from the mean. We don't know. So let's plan everything for a better tomorrow. That was the concept of this meeting. And we all agreed that it is better to have a concrete plan now itself than having it later. So we agreed and gone forward with the business continuity plan. So these are the 4 categories we thought we will put into while doing a proper analysis. One is the manpower, because without manpower, business will not work. So the manpower is critical, and how dependent we are on their availability, the backup solutions, and whether any avenues are there to automate further, so that it will be more process dependent and human dependent. That was on the detailed manpower analysis. Then on the technology, whether people need to work from home, whether they have all the adequate laptops, whether they have all the internet solutions, and then how we will do the business need to continue, how we will do the billing, because nobody will be working in the office. So the entire connectivity issues, how we will do the billing, how we will collect the money, and how we can, because it is not a normal situation now. Everybody will understand in 2 years' time, we can have a structured approach to work from home. But during initial times, it was very, very difficult for us to coordinate and to ensure that the work from home also happens without any problem with the business, day-to-day business operations. So on technology, we were giving focus. Then we were also giving focus on the environment, both external and demand changes. So, during lockdown, initially we were hesitant to take any meat products, especially the chicken products. People want to be more vegetarian. People want to be more, health conscious. So they don't want to touch any non-veg products. So how is it going to affect our business scenario, or going to change the entire product planning? Then aggressive competitor advances, because competitions like ITC, Godrej, they are cash-rich companies. So and we are also there among them. So how we should protect ourselves from the competition, and they should not, we should not lose the opportunity also, to survive in the market. Then, the factory operations, we should have some sort of a support system. How will ensure that product is available in the market by, running the factories. So how we should ensure that the tools are available, the parts are available, and also the critical vendors, the suppliers, then their services, everything has to be, there during this period. So these are the 4 things which we did. Getting all the information, we placed them in these 4 buckets. And what we did with this information, we did a proper understanding of this, Pareto dependencies. Then each, threads we analyzed in details, both internal and external, and prioritize our actions based on the impact. And we made a clear backup plan, prevention plan, alternatives. Then also, the cost, that is one of the important things, and how we can realign the cost structure, and all those things. We did a great exercise. Once we understand all those things, it is very important that we should share this information and ensure that the information is tested and train the people, and how we will track the outcome. And need be, we should always be willing to revise the plan. And always every day is a new threat coming up. So that also we should, in case if you are not able to identify these new threats, we should incorporate that into the list. So the outcome is very clear: to create a scenario on how Sumeru's revenue and cost would move basis different outcomes of the pandemic, because we should be able to look at it in a very flexible manner. If you see that this is one of the major challenge which pandemic created, from our understanding, that this is something which we identified, that 6 areas the customer is changing his behavior, which is going to affect our business. One is proactive, health-centric buying. People no more, they are not ready to take whatever they want. They are interested in health and wellness products, which give a lot of nutrition and vitamins. So if you see a survey, on our customers and all, we did around 56% will increase spends on healthy, organic, and nutritional food focused on staples. Then, of course, the hygiene, quality, and safety in consumption is is one of the another critical things for the customer, changing behavior pattern. Then nobody want to go to the restaurant. People want food at home, and they are ready to spend money, but not at that level in a restaurant. So people constrained into their homes, and the restaurant consumption also reduced. So I am sure you will be able to relate how it is going to affect our QSR business, which is one of our major contributor to our business, Kitty. Then change in shopper behavior, moving from online to delivery to home. So again, our modern trade, our big formats, that all the people, Lulu was closed, all the big shops were closed. So where will we sell our products? Okay, so people are shifting their behavior to online consumption than going to a store. Then people are looking for offers. They want promos. They want buy one get one free. They want price to be reduced, discounts, all those things people are expecting. And living a new normal, return to daily routines, permanent shifts in channel mix, supply chain, and hygiene practices. People, they are adapted to the new styles. If it continues, then we need to change our entire business planning. So these are the 6 major contributor which created a lot of challenges in front of us. because our customers' behavior is changing. So we somehow we could identify these are the normal things. These are the things which is going to be a real drivers to it. So basis that, what we did, we recalibrated Sumeru's business scenario. So what a lot of things what we said, initially, we were giving much focus to the quality standard, quality certifications. All those things helped in this now, because people are health conscious, because frozen food, we are not using any preservatives, because the freezing is the technology wherein all the nutrients will get locked. You don't have to really add any preservatives to keep this for a long. So all those things, consumers education. So we thought, okay, fine, we have very good options. Only thing, we need to communicate this to a customer, saying that, okay, these are the right options that you are looking for, because all the nutrients, everything is there. Everything is locked in this. We just go eat and eat. Then hygiene, as I told you. Then solutions. We have meal solutions. We can really, our chef Alfred Prasad and team, they have created meal solutions which will give you a real restaurant eating, the feel at home. You take our meal solutions, it's like a restaurant at your home. You can heat and you can get it. It is all 2-3 minutes heating time only. So at a convenience, how we are able to satisfy the customer in the new, changing scenario. Then another thing was our priority. Again, the main business, if you see, it is coming from the retail. And before that, e-commerce is not into our radar. So we said, okay, fine. Now we need to give much focus. We need to change our priorities. So e-commerce came to us a priority number 1. So we were full into listing into all the major e-coms like Big Bazaar, Big Basket, Grofers, Big Basket, Amazon, then Swiggy, Zomato, everywhere we are listed. So our focus was to get listed in all the major e-com businesses, which we did. And also, as I told you that the customer other expectations on value pack, promo packs. So we were ready to offer promo packs. If you see, even now, if you go to a shop, if you buy one, chicken nuggets, you will get other chicken nuggets free, because we made a value pack for our customers, which got a very good response, in fact. So we have taken advantage of the changing habits by recalibrating our supply chain management, sourcing channel mix, and innovations. We went actively in digital platform, and got the whatever the consumer information. And we could create Sumeru Trust as a hygiene brand, and the trust given to our brand because of all the certification, everything helped, because this we did in 2017 itself, all the certification, because that time our focus was to get all this international certifications on quality and hygiene. So this could help us in a very big way. So these are the changing patterns and our reactions to this, changing patterns across. So each department, I will just quickly take you through, different challenges what we faced, each department wise. This is the risk assessment we did for each department, wherein traditionally our business is like almost like 50-50, 50% on veg and 50% on non-veg. So when this this COVID pandemic started, this non-veg business went down, and it was actually degrowing almost like 28 to 30%. As you are aware, all the big malls, retailers all closed because complete lockdown was announced. So people are not able to go and purchase anything from the stores. Then the stores people also, they were not allowing our sales people to enter and take orders because distributors were not able to deliver at their stores. Then the sales people, they are having that fear of virus and they were not ready to go and work in the market. Families were not allowing them to go to the market and take orders. Then a lot of retailers closed and they were not giving you the money because we need money to circulate. So money collection was a big hit. We are not able to collect. And a lot of stores, especially in Maharashtra, Delhi and all, they closed. Then again, our distributors and we were really in dilemma how to collect this money from these closed stores. Then some distributors, again, they were ordering, okay, there is a material, but we are not able to supply because of the logistics issues. Because of lockdown restrictions, the movement of vehicles in the initial times, and that service to the retailers and distributors also got impacted, and created a lot of out of stock scenarios. So to overcome this, what we did is continuously we educated our sales people and their families, and we we have done the financial support. Initially, if you see that the N95 mask and all those hand sanitizer are all very costly. So what we did is we have given them all the people financial assistance to buy the face masks and all hand sanitizers, etc. And always we used to communicate on a daily basis on their safety, how to behave when you go out, how to ensure that you wear the proper gadgets and all those things. And as far as we used to tell people, you be at the office headquarters. If your area is in Delhi, Gurgaon, be there in Gurgaon and don't travel. From there, you try to operate maximum through phone, and take order through phone instead of having a personal contact. But keep moving. And also we tried whether we can get any sort of IT tool to so that the retailer, instead of coming to us, our person going to them, they can do through online app. So these are the things. So as I told you, the major challenge was the e-com business became our #1 priority during this pandemic, and the modern trade and retail, modern trade. Regional modern trade became the #2 priority. And we also developed, we had developed a key action plan for our distributors, because we need to keep our distributors business as well. They are one of our key member in our growth strategy. So we need to ensure that the distributor also continues with their business. As I told you earlier, we need to keep our employees' morale high because they were the only people in the market. So we have had a separate reward and recognition program for doing that extra mile during this pandemic for our people. So we did, our focus was again on the digital marketing space and building trust, and also Sumeru as a frozen brand is with performance marketing programs. So we did a lot of public relation activities to drive goodness of Sumeru Frozen and how Sumeru is driving hygiene and health. This really helped us along. And there was a daily connect from our HR team to each and every member, because we have given this responsibility to all the members in the HR department, wherein everybody will talk to all the people in the sales and marketing team every day to find out their health, their family's health, and the issues that they are facing in the market. And if they need any supports, we are ready to offer then and there. So the summary on sales and marketing, this is what I explained, the only summary. So these are the things already explained to you. These are the things what we did. What I mean to say is, the detailing what we did in this business continuity plan exercise, this was a detailed exercise, in fact, carried out without neglecting in any area in any of these functions. Then again, in purchase, no, we should know the material and vendors. We should alternate because we should ensure that the factory is working. For that, we should have the raw materials and that ensure that all the vendors are ready to supply. If that vendor is not ready, his factory or his field is not working, then who is our alternate vendor who can support us so that we will not have any issues in supply chain. So all those things, we did a detailed analysis and we found solutions to all these issues. Supply chain management also, because being a frozen food company, it is very, that vehicles which carry our products has to be maintained at -18 degree. No normal vehicle can transport our goods. And the storage also, we need to ensure that it is maintained at -18 degree. So the temperature management is very critical to maintain the quality and the life of our products. So getting a vehicle, making their passes and drivers, their logistics arrangements, everything we discussed in detail, and we found a clear way forward. As I told you, in the manufacturing, our factories, works in in a temperature controlled environment. So we should have proper technicians available 24/7 at our premises. So we requested them to come and stay inside the premises. Let me salute them because some technicians they were staying inside the campus for more than 30 days. The amazing support from our people for the smooth functioning and maintenance of our factories. So also it is very, very important that, since we need to ensure that the cost control measures are happening in the factory level, we should not do anything, which is, cannot justify with the cost. So because money is not coming from the market, there is a collection, there is an issue. So our focus was to, wherever possible, we should have cost control exercise. Then paramount important was employee safety, awareness, and preparedness. As I told in the beginning, we recognize that without our people, we are not there. We are big zero. For their personal well-being, we did proper guidance, training, and the communication channel was very open. They could discuss their problems. If somebody is affected in their family, we will give the right advice. We had counselors to talk to them or to guide them how to deal with this pandemic situation. And people coming to factory also, the workers coming to the factory, and they were also should not have any fear factor because they should not be panicked to come and work in the factory. So we continuously educated them, continuously given them, the parents and the family, the confidence that your son, your husband, your wife is safe at our workplace. So what we did is we formed an internal task force, who will periodically evaluate the global situation and the Indian situation and discuss and implement appropriate actions and communications, which used to interact daily, through newsletters. And all these, actions, done by this, task force. What we did is we have documented clearly and implemented and continuously reviewed these documents so that anything to be added or anything to be deleted, it was done on a daily basis. So for some examples are, personal hygiene posters we provided, hand sanitizer. It's all started from May to March 2019 onwards. And then, body temperature. Then, because earlier also being a food company, a lot of practices we are following. Like, if you need to get all these, if you want all the certifications on quality points, these are the important things which we follow. So this is something like which we are following earlier also. But more focused, like body temperature, earlier we used to take only once, people coming into the factory. Now we are regularly doing it at least twice in a day. Then we are giving proper training and briefing to the entire people on do's and don'ts, and how we can update ourselves and how we can ensure that we prevent ourselves from getting infected. We had helpline numbers in the factory level and the external agencies, so that in case they need any sort of support anytime, we are helping them to get them there. Initially, we were given people immunity boosters, vitamins, and all those things, including homeo medicines. We are given because it was found that homeo medicines were giving a lot of immunity boosters to them. So we immediately procured homeo medicines, and also we are given across the organization and their families free of cost. So once this vaccination started, we were one of the first organizations to get vaccinated all our employees, all the double doses, that and all given free of cost to all the people. Then interim work arrangements, we started flexible work time, and we requested all the people not to travel. If at all that travel is a must, then we should follow some restrictions. Then social distancing, staying away from mass gatherings, home quarantine, all those things we documented in the month of March and April, May, and all. We started circulating as newsletters to all the people. Already I told. The most important thing is whatever we did, we aligned this our customers and suppliers. So these are the things what we are doing and what we are following. We are continuously studying. We have created a business continuity plan. This is what we are expected out of you. This is our expectation from you as a supplier. Please help us. Let's work together so that there will not be any much disruption to our business, both as a supplier and as a vendor from both sides. So continuously we are engaging with our customers and the suppliers so that we could take them into confidence and some that, okay, we know how to face the situation, how we should go forward. We did, as I told you, that SAP, dependence, all IT, commercials, all those things I discussed already. What we did with the commercial and the technology and the HR. This also I discussed the quality control and quality assurance and processes to face the situation of pandemic. So the business continuity plan gives 3 reports to the board. One is, if this pandemic crisis ends by June 20, so that is early 1 or 2 months, this crisis is getting over, because we don't know how long it is going to last. The second action plan template was, if it is going to take much more time, like, say early August, how it is going to impact our business with EBITDA level. Then the third report was, if it is worsened the case by early November 20, actually it's gone up to 2021, that is a different scenario. But even then, that time we prepared our strategy map in these 3 timelines with the clear EBITDA level. So this is a summary. We could survive this pandemic crisis with a clear plan, which was actionable, and everybody's focus was to implement this business continuity plan, and that worked. Okay, and myself personally and the CEO are responsible for it, and we took all care to ensure that this business continuity plan goes without any failure. So end of the day, we realized that our top priority, whatever we do, is should for employees and shareholders, because their health is paramount important, and all our focus, first people, utmost important is our employees, then the product. If you want to launch some new products or withdraw some products, all those things as per the reality. Then the cost. let me tell you, we have not terminated anybody's services during this pandemic. We are given 100% salaries to all the people during this pandemic. We are not stopped any of their privileges. We are not stopped any of their entitlements during this pandemic. We were giving all support to them and their families, including, there was a help desk in HR to do the, any medical emergencies or medical insurances claims or whatever it may be. We are all able to deal with the situation. So this is the summary, a small presentation from my side, how we dealt with this pandemic. To summarize this, I'm happy that, even though we are in such a pandemic situation, our company made almost like 10% more profitable than the last year, and the turnover also gone by 28%. High. That means actually with all these challenges, our team performed well, and company is in a profit mode. That's it. Thank you. Any questions? Most welcome.
Thank you, sir, for this informative session. So now the floor is open for question and answers. So if anyone has questions, you can ask or you can type on the chat box. Let's see how curious you are.
Yes.
Hope I am within the time, right?
Yes, sir. Very well within the time.
Yes.
Guys and girls, please.
Any questions? At least please go and have our products, Sumeru. It's available in everywhere. Okay. I shared with you the quality tests that we are giving each and every product. Frozen is actually a good solution to have a good quality product. You don't have to worry because it is hygienically packed with all the nutrients locked without any preservatives.
Sir, actually, it's very interesting that, you say that your first priority was on the e-commerce side. Now, from a traditional distribution channel, when you move towards e-commerce, your competition parameters would have changed completely. But yes, still, but still you seem to have done better than your competition. So in fact, I would rather say that the pandemic has thrown up an opportunity for you rather than a challenge.
Correct. Yeah, because see, as I told you, one of the major factors is there are a lot of people in this frozen food industry. There are small players, medium players, whoever it may be, but a lot of companies, unfortunately, not given much trust on the quality parameters. Okay, so like here also in our Cochin factory as well in Chittoor factory, when the factory was in operations, a lot of people came for inspections. They want to see, and once they enter the premises, they'll be very happy seeing the quality norms, that protocols that we follow. And this we completed all the major certifications in 2017 itself. That's what I showed in my earlier slides. That our focus was on quality. So all those things, really, the results came in now, wherein people want quality certified products from good manufacturers, good brand. So at least we could present ourselves as a trusted quality brand in front of our consumers.
That must have been the result of so many years of hard work.
Exactly.
Because this can't be built up overnight.
Correct.
So your unrelenting pursuit of quality, it's kind of really paid off.
Exactly.
From student side, any questions, please, or observations, suggestions?
This is a chance to ask questions. So please utilize it.
Here, there is one on the chat box.
What motivates you the most?
So the question is, what motivates you the most during the tough times where you need to make crucial decisions?
See, always, as I told you, people were first. Okay, if I take some decisions, how it is going to impact our own people first, whether we will be able to implement that decisions. That's a priority. Then the quality, the products, whether which product we should launch or which product we should focus on. If the non-veg product is not performing, what are the alternatives we should provide in the veg categories? And the third one, the priority was the cost control. How we can manage cost, because income, the collections is going to be a challenge. So these are the three things which we kept always in mind before we take any decisions during that time.
So next question we have from Adarsh. In order to enter into the export activities, you need to achieve the trust of global market. So, sir, what suggestions would you give to newcomers in the export activity of a product?
Product should speak about your company. Okay, so that is number one. So you should manufacture and sell good quality product. Then only the first time anybody will buy. But if you want to survive in the market, there should be repeat buyers. For that, only quality products, reasonable rate, at your arm's length. That is the three things which is very, very critical for survival of a product.
Okay, any more questions? So I hope everyone is clear with the topic.
Yeah, they had
Yes.
got the clarity they wanted, I think. So.
I think in our team earlier, we had a couple of students from Rajgiri working with us in HR department. I think a couple of them got placement. From here, earlier, I think Manoj Mathi knows 2-3 people were there working.
2016, PGDM.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah.
So they're all part of our team, doing well. Okay.
Yeah, the company is doing extremely well. So there's no reason why they should not be, right? So, yes, probably you can propose a word of thanks, Ashna.
Okay, sir. So now I would like to call Nigita Randeep to conclude this enlightening session.
Dear all, thank you for patiently listening to our guest speaker, Mr. Manoj Kumar. Sir, your words were truly inspiring, and we are obliged to you to spend your valuable time and expertise with us. The strategies developed for each department and the steps you've taken for crisis management was an eye-opener. We believe these words will truly help us in our future endeavors as an entrepreneur and as a budding manager. Thank you, AICTE, IIC, Rajgiri Management, directors, speakers, and faculty to arrange such a wonderful section. Thank you, the students, to patiently listening to our guest speaker. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Welcome, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nigita. We would love to hear from you by submitting the feedback form, which will be available in the chat box.